Hi, nature lovers. We, the team of Nature's Orbit, welcome you for our fifth episode of the Nature's Orbit Torchlight series. Today, I, Aditya Nori, am in conversation with a sustainable earthling, Shivani Puttabakula. Hi, Shivani.
Hello, Aditya.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. A very warm welcome to you, Shivani.
Thank you.
Shivani Puttabakula is an eco enthusiast and a minimalist by nature. Since childhood, she was always intrigued by how many resources we use and how many of them get wasted. She always looks out for ways to reduce consumption and increase efficiency of the usage of resources in daily life. She is currently working on a startup called Sustainable Earthlings, which is based on e-waste management and sustainable living, focusing on devising better ways for household e-waste collection. Being one of the fast-growing and hazardous waste streams, collecting, channelizing, and recycling e-waste responsibly are crucial to make our environment better. So welcome, Shivani. Shivani, tell us a little bit about yourself and your eco-friendly journey.
Thank you, Aditya, for the invite and the introduction. I'm from Hyderabad and I did my chemical engineering BTech in 2020. And it's my childhood dream to see myself making a visible positive impact on the environment. So it all started with a simple random question of me asking my dad about his salary. So as soon I heard the number, whatever it was, I just freaked out. So I thought about how my parents would manage all the school fees, the groceries, the food, water, electricity, everything, how they would manage with that salary. So then I started becoming conscious and frugal about money, any resources, food, water, things like that in my daily life. And slowly, as I started growing more aware about the environmental issues, I gradually decided that my career would be inclined in this way.
That's nice. And how old are you, Shivani?
I'm 22 years old.
Wow, such a young age, and you started this kind of things and thinking this way. It really, it will really empower and influence the youth, I'm sure. Yeah. Thank you, Shivani. Nice to know that. And so Shivani, we are all eager to know more about how your startup, Sustainable Earthlings, came about.
So it was my dad who had this problem of disposing some of his e-waste, but responsibly, but he couldn't find a responsible authorized recycler somehow. So he came up with the idea of me making a business plan to set up a e-waste recycling plant. So I started digging about e-waste and the toxic hazards and how to recycle it. And then it was like a slap on my face because I called myself an environmentalist, but I don't know much about e-waste and how toxic it is if it is mishandled. So then that's when I decided to work about e-waste and creating awareness and devising better ways for collection.
And why Sustainable Earthlings? Like, why? How did that name come up?
So I also want, like, during the lockdown, I joined Instagram then, and I grew more aware about how in daily lives how we can create an impact just by making simple choices. But then the challenge for me was to research. I had to put a lot of time to research more about these simple alternatives and simple practices that could really make a better impact as if we do it as an individuals, if a lot of individuals do it, that would sum up to a larger impact, right? So that's when I thought this sustainable way of living has to be accessible and affordable to everyone. So that's how the name of Sustainable Earthlings came.
I think the pandemic has brought about a lot of changes and brought about a lot of ideas. And this is one of the very good ideas that it's brought about. So thank you for that, Shivani. And could you tell me what are the different methods of e-waste management?
So e-waste is nothing but electric and electronic waste. That means any device which runs with electricity and which has reached its end of life and it has to be discarded. So that is e-waste. So when we have to discard e-waste, we have three options in front of our eyes. The first one is giving it to a local Raddiwala or any local unauthorized dealer and actually selling it to him or her. And the second way of disposing it is giving it to an authorized recycler by personally contacting them or through any awareness programs or collection campaigns. The third thing is just mixing it in the dustbin and just making it disappear. So out of all these three options we have, the only one right option is the second one, which is giving it to the authorized recycler. So if we choose the first option, it is with the unauthorized informal recycling. Why it is wrong? It is wrong because of the methods which are employed to extract metals out of the e-waste. So the e-waste is either burnt or dissolved in highly concentrated acids, so that to extract the metals. So that results in not only in environmental pollution, but a lot of deadly acute and chronic illnesses and diseases to the people dealing with it, because they don't even have any safety equipment or proper infrastructure to recycle the waste. So the second method, if we chose the authorized recycler with the certification by the government, then it is a simple dry process where it's a semi-automated process where things are dismantled and the components are separated, and then the components, they are broken down, they're shredded into pieces, and various non-metals and metals are separated using magnets and other separation techniques, and metals can be recovered from that. And the third option is just dumping it into a dustbin, so no one knows where it goes. But when you mix e-waste with the wet waste is mostly acidic, right? The food we eat, the water, everything is acidic in nature. So when metals react with acids, it reacts easier, and it results in a lot of hazardous components which mix up with land, air, and soil. Then it just ends up in our tummies and the animals' tummies. So the only option we have, the correct option, is to dispose e-waste by giving it to an authorized recycler. We can extend the life of electronics by repairing and refurbishing, things like that. We can try to extend the life, but when it is at the end of the life, we have to give it to an authorized recycler.
Okay, I think you hit the point very well about the authorized reseller. Very strongly you have said that and recommended that. So I think we should all be doing that from here on as a regular practice, and follow what you said so powerfully, that give it to an authorized reseller, right? E-waste reseller. That's awesome, Shivani. Thank you. And can you tell me a little bit about any of the cleanup drives that you have done?
So in Hyderabad, at the Kapra Lake, we have recently, a wonderful person named Vijay has initiated to clean up near the Kapra Lake. So here, what we want, when we visited Kapra Lake, we saw a lot of not waste, but we saw a lot of resources there, hidden resources, which were lying as waste, unfortunately. So things like PET bottles, cardboard, cigarette butts, cigarette packets, whatnot, chips packets, Tetra packs, a lot of disposable single-use plastics, a lot of wet waste, a lot of resources was found. So we thought of doing it in a little different way, to gain ourselves more awareness and also to make people also aware. So we thought of first looking it as resources rather than trash. So we want to collect these resources. We want to segregate them while collecting them, and like segregating them into different bags, different sacks, like PET bottles, glass bottles, Tetra packs, chips packets, things like that, and covers, takeaway boxes, things like that. So we want to give it to different recyclers who take them. So that is the idea. So we want to, so we name it like back to the loop. So we want to give it back to the loop. And the plastics, they don't really last very long. It's not actually recycling, but it's downcycling. But so we want to extend the life of the plastics a little. So that's the idea.
Okay. So you want to extend the life of the plastics, and good initiative we have done there in Kapra Lake. So what are your plans for Kapra Lake? Like, what do you aspire in the future for Kapra Lake?
So I don't expect the Kapra Lake to be always very, very clean, but through the process, whoever is volunteering and initiating to clean up at Capra, or uh, for anyone who just glances at us while cleaning or just visits Capra Lake, through the process itself, we want to create awareness that there are many kinds of disposables and resources which can be easily avoided. If they're not avoided, they can be at least recycled, and they need not be thrown just like that into the near the lake, right? So that's the idea.
So I think this would be a message you would want to give to not only for Kapra Lake, but all the lakes in India and in Hyderabad and all over India, right? Like,
Yeah. So with very simple, like if we want to eat some chips or some lace, for example, I want to eat lace, so I eat it. Instead of just throwing it, just keep it in your pocket and you can go home and you can manage it later. We have better ways of managing it. You can even send it to a company called Recharka, which upcycles them into beautiful bags, or similar companies which upcycle them into different items. But plastic, it is bad, but it can still be managed in some other way. But when it mixes with the wet waste and other waste, then it will become kachra. Till then, it is not kachra. It's just a plastic resource can be managed. So we can try to avoid such kind of plastics in the first place. But if we are not able to avoid them, sometimes we have some. We get tempted to eat. That is okay, but at least we have to try to manage it in a better way. So through that process, we learn how to avoid such disposables, and yeah, we learn in the process.
good, good. That's, I think, a very good thing you said. I mean, the youth can really learn from what you have said just now and follow suit, because you made it look very simple actually. So thank you for that. And can you tell us about, like you just mentioned one organization uh, in your conversation, like that, how many organizations are you associated with? Like, and tell us more about them, like the different kinds of e-waste organizations. Uh, you said not to give it to authorized recycler, e-waste recycler, or any other kind of recycler that you are aware of. Can you tell the audience and the youth about them?
Yeah. So actually, we sitting at home, we don't know much about waste management companies. We just worry about the waste. Like we don't know what to do with it. But there are actually many companies working on the ground. They're already established and they're doing well. And uh, so different kinds of waste can be managed in different ways. For example, e-waste can be given to one kind of authorized recycler. We have different kinds of plastics, right? One is takeaway boxes. They can be managed by a particular recycler. So we have different organizations which collect all the waste from our home. We just have to call them and book a pickup kind of thing. They come home and they take our scraps and they recycle them in a proper way. So there are a lot of companies working, and we as Sustainable Earthlings, we just made a website to make it easier for people to find out about these companies. There are many companies, so they can find it on our website also. So different kinds of waste, we can just, if we can just separate wet waste from dry waste and just clean it up and schedule our pickups, and we can give it to the respective recyclers.
Yeah. So can you mention a couple of names of recyclers?
Yeah,
You know.
in Hyderabad itself, there are companies like Scrap Q, Scrap Zone, Crab Bin, Waste Ventures, and a couple of e-waste recyclers also. So these companies, these are waste management companies which basically collect all kinds of waste, and all kinds of dry waste, and they will send them to the respective recyclers.
Acha, they collect the waste and send it to the recyclers. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So it's very inspiring, Shivani. Tell me.
I just wanted to mention one thing. And we often forget about our local Raddiwalas. So
yes.
PET bottles, glass bottles, metals, cardboard, all of these can be just given to the Raddiwalas. They even come to our houses, but we often ignore them. So we can just collect and keep it ready for them to come. And we just have to create some space for the dry waste, for the segregation. The only thing is it should not be wet. It should be little clean. It should not have any food waste in it. If it has food waste, it again rots and creates a mess, right? So as long as we don't mix dry waste with wet waste, it is not waste. It is a resource, right?
Cool. Yeah, I mean, as you said, the Desi Raddiwala. So apart from those people who collect the waste from the companies and stuff, why not just give it to a Raddiwala also? Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Shivani, for letting us know that. And I think by listening to what you have said just now, it's not just Hyderabad, but the cities all over India. The youth listening to this can actually look for those kind of companies who collect waste, and not just the youth, but even the people all over of all age groups actually identify those companies as you have done. Identify such companies and start giving the waste to them, segregating it and giving it to them. I think that would be a good practice that you have just explained about, that could be brought and picked up by the people who are listening to this. So thank you, Shivani, for that.
Actually, I wanted to tell one more thing.
Yes.
So it is actually very easy for the youth, as you said. It is very, very easy for them. Like almost all of the companies and all of the big influencers, the sustainability influencers, they are on Instagram. They're very much on Instagram, and they keep posting and motivating people like us to shift into a more sustainable lifestyle. So we can just follow them and they'll keep updating us, and we can get motivated and start changes.
So follow, not only the celebrities, but also the people who are really doing this kind of work, and on Instagram, and get inspired by them. Yes, that's a good idea. So
actually, that's how I learned all these things, all these small tips and tricks, and all of my knowledge about simple swaps in our daily lives is from the Instagram. I should thank Instagram for that. So people like Mrudula, she's the founder of Ulisu, Vamrani, and there are a lot of people. Like we just have to search and just follow them. Yeah.
Wow, Mrudula and Vomadani. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. So I think we can start picking from there and searching for such people and start following them.
They do not even make big efforts. They make it so easy for us.
I know that's what most great people do. They make things look very easy. So we just need to practice it. Wow, that's great. That's wonderful, Shivani. So what are the natural or organic products that you have that can replace hazardous products in our everyday lives?
When it comes to natural products, like when we want to when we think about hazardous chemicals or something which we use in our daily lives, the first thing which should come in our mind is cleaners, our daily cleaners like toilet cleaner, floor cleaner, lawn detergent, normal soaps, and any kind of cleaner, right? Or dishwash cleaner. So all of these can be easily replaced with natural cleaners. Like they're cheap and they are easy to make at home. And like I'll just list them out. So bioenzyme, soap nuts, which we call Rita in Hindi and Kunkulkaya in Telugu. So shikakai and baking soda. What else? Wood ash, and yeah, so there are a lot of natural cleaners. So when we look at some products, there's a long list of ingredients. I don't know why there's a very long list, but with just one or two, which is just a combination of one or two ingredients, we can make all the cleaners at home. We need not shift to natural cleaners in one day, but we can start by making small shifts. Like in kitchen, we can swap dishwashing liquid and dishwash with soap nuts. That's a very easy swap and it's very effective actually. Soap nuts and bioenzyme, right? Kunkurkaya.
So
they are very easy swaps.
Very easy swaps, yes. And how would you make bioenzyme?
Yeah, bioenzyme, it is a very easy formula. The things we need is some fruit peels, the fruit peels, like lemon, orange, watermelon, things like that, and water and jaggery, and a container, a plastic container. Plastic because it is going to ferment and it will release some gas, so we need a plastic container. And we can recycle our old any plastic container or PET bottles for that. So it's a very simple thing to make bioenzymes. They're just 3 ingredients, right? And one is just the waste fruit peels, right? It's like a best sort of waste also.
Okay, so utilizing the fruit peels. And after, like, so basically you would mix all these things and then do you need to keep it somewhere for some time? Like, what would be the process?
Yeah. There's a ratio. It's like the jaggery is to fruit peels is to water is 1:3:10.
Okay.
We have to mix it in such like by volume or weight, anything. We have to mix it and keep some space for the gas. We have to keep it at a dark place so that, and we have to keep removing the lid every day so that the fizz will come out, right? The liquid will get fermented like beer, just like beer. So it's just a fermentation process and it will turn into a bioenzyme, and it smells great actually. So It takes actually, for the first time, it takes 3 months to form a bioenzyme. And for the next time, you can use the old bioenzyme, some of it, to fasten the process. So it'll just take 1 month from the second time.
Okay, so the first time is a bit of hard work, but then you can just use the previous bioenzyme for the recurring times. Yeah, that's super. Yeah, I think people listening to this today will really definitely would want to, make these bioenzymes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shivani.
At least it's an interesting activity to try.
Yes, definitely. And to put some efforts, basically, the kind of the what can be caused by putting efforts. When you put efforts, you can help the environment so much. That's what we're getting from this.
Yeah.
What you have just explained. And apart from e-waste management, what are the other types of waste that can be recycled?
So we have, like, as I mentioned, PET bottles. It's a very mature industry in India. I mean, the recycling of PET bottles. We have to try to avoid it, but it's not 100% avoidable. So the 1 or 2 PET bottles we get, we can just give it to the local recycler. And takeaway boxes is a very common thing right now. So what we have to do is we have to just clean it. We just have to rinse it lightly and just have to dry it, clean and dry. There should be no moisture or food scraps in it. So if it has something, then it'll become kachra. Then we have to throw it in the dustbin. So if you manage to make it clean and dry, it need not be like, you need not scrub it like a normal vessel. You can just rinse it with water and a little bit of soap. You can clean and dry it and collect them. So I'll just list out the types of scraps. The one is the takeaway boxes, PET bottles, glass bottles, covers, and MLPs, multi-layer plastics, the chips packets and biscuit packets we get, right? So I'll just show it. So it is like shiny aluminum kind of thing on inside and colorful thing on outside. So this is actually not recyclable. This is not recyclable. But many companies are coming up which upcycle these into beautiful bags, right? So we can just clean it and collect them and just post them to those companies. So that is one of the thing. And plastic covers can be recycled. Some waste management companies take them. And what else? Yeah, even Tetra packs can be, they can be cleaned and they can be cut open, cleaned and collected. And then they can be sent to a company, like Scrap Queue in Hyderabad takes them. So they can be sent and they'll make some eco boards with it, right? So some furniture and trays, things like that, some items can be made, like they can be fused together and it can be upcycled.
Very interesting. Yeah, so these are the various forms. These are the things that we use every day. And
Yes.
we just throw them out. We throw them in the bin and we don't think about it, right? It's so it's become such an obvious thing to do. And what you have told us today will, it'll change that. I think now people will start looking for more companies where we can actually give this kind of waste to them for recycling and upcycling. Thank you so much.
Even, yeah. So even milk packets can be very much recycled.
Milk packets, yes.
They can be even given to our garbage collector, or Radhiwalas don't take them, but actually an environmentalist from Hyderabad, he's Ram. He takes those milk packets, the cleaned and collected milk packets, and he uses it for plant saplings, right? So after reuse, then we can send it to recycling also. So even milk packets can be easily recycled. So that's one thing we can easily do, right? So after we pour the milk in our bowl, like we have to try to find some plastic-free alternative for milk if we are consuming milk, or if it's not possible, at least we have to just cut the packet open, just rinse it lightly. It doesn't even need soap to clean, right? We can rinse it lightly, and we just have to stick it to the tile. It sticks to the tile, and once it's dry, we can just collect it and we can give it to a person called Ram who upcycles it, who reuses it and then recycles, or we can just give it to uh, any garbage taker separately.
That's a very good practice. And as you said, this person called Ram who's doing it in Hyderabad. So all people from all
Yes.
Hyderabadis can listen to this and give it to Ram.
Absolutely.
We're getting to know about a lot of companies and people who are taking these kind of initiatives. That's great. And I'm sure they are there in other cities also if you look out.
Yes, yes. If they're not there, we can take the initiatives.
Yes, surely.
Yeah.
Great.
If we look at them as resources instead of waste, then we can think about creative ways to.
Very interesting, actually. Looking at them as resources rather than waste. That's a very interesting point that you brought up. So, Shivani, what are your practices as a minimalist?
So from childhood, as I said, I was very frugal about food waste, water waste, current waste, things like that. Then once I came to Instagram, I got to know more about how to manage things better in a better way. So one small shift I did was, we all eat junk food, right? Even I crave for junk food, for Lay's, Kurkure, things like that. But now what I do is, when I want to eat some junk food, what I do is I take a box, some reusable box, which is at home. I go and cycle. I just go to the hot chips shop. I just refill my box with whatever I want. I just come back and I enjoy my snacks. So that is zero waste snacks.
Oh,
So
wow.
if we want to eat snacks, we can eat it like that also. Right?
Very responsible.
So
Yes.
there's no plastic packaging in it, and you can still enjoy it. So many people think that being zero waste or being responsible towards the environment, lessening our waste, means that we are very strict and we don't enjoy life. People think like that, but it's not like that. So people who are conscious have their own ways of enjoying life. So this is how we can do. There are better ways to do.
These are better ways and very inspiring ways. And, what seems to be like something that takes time to adapt to, suddenly, once it becomes a habit, it becomes a new normal.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'll become very easy.
And yes. I think the major waste we get is from food packaging, right? Which we can easily avoid. But there has to be some kind of cultural change in this, because when I go with a dabba to the tiffin center or to the hot chips shop, people see me as a strange person, right? So there has to be a cultural change, which has to be like, if people like us go, more people like us go, then that is a new normal, as you said. And when some customer demands plastic packaging, then people will see them as a strange man.
Yeah. We're looking for that kind of day. Yes, definitely. We're all looking forward for that. Yeah, that day will come very soon. With people like you, I'm sure that day will come very soon, Shivani. That's superb. So. And I think there's something that even for tea also, people use some kind of containers, right? Which for filling and refilling tea in offices and stuff.
Okay. So there's a term called greenwashing, right? So like brainwashing, some products, they tend to brainwash us that some products are green or eco-friendly, right? But they are not actually. So can I just show you some things? Like,
Yes, yes.
yeah, this one is a, this is a paper glass, right? We think that this is eco-friendly, so we can just have it in. But no, it has a plastic lining which prevents it from, which makes it waterproof and things like that. So this is not eco-friendly because first thing, it is made from, it takes two resources, not only plastic, it takes paper and plastic for this to be made. So again, people think that is eco-friendly and they just trash it. And what happens? Animals gulp it and it goes into the tummy. We think that okay, nothing will happen to us, but again, it eventually gets inside our tummies. So
Yes, exactly. And
that is
that's
the
not
thing.
good for the animals or for us too. And there was something that I heard about, when you can, like a tea container that you can enclose, and then open it again and use it. It's
Sure.
like one.
So there's a product available for this. We can take even our own glasses, but if we want, if there's some space constraint, this is a product.
Yes.
We can just, this is a collapsible tumbler, right? You
Yes.
can just take it quickly before the shopkeeper gives in the paper plastic cup. You can just enjoy our beverages in this. Yeah. And we can just rinse it or just keep it like this till we go home and clean it, right? It's just
That's
a
superb.
easy alternative. Or if we have such space, we can just take our glass, which is at home.
I mean, that looks like a very, very nice kind of product, very funky product actually. And I'm
Yeah,
sure
it
a
is
lot
an
of people working in,
interesting.
I'm sure a lot of people working in companies can also take that along with them. Like how they take their lunch box,
Yes, yes.
they can take this tea collapsible
Mhm.
container. Very nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing those products also to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And what is the strong message you want to convey to the youth about your practices? And if you don't take such actions, what would be the consequences?
Yeah. So most of us think that many times climate change and environmental issues are very far from us. Okay, they'll come on some after few 30, 40 years. Okay, just enjoy and YOLO and chill till then. But no, it is affecting us in our daily lives. I'll just give an example for that. So some of my neighbors have this habit of burning dry leaves, right? In winters and summers, in all seasons, they just burn the dry leaves to make them disappear because there's no other easy way to take it off, right? So what happens is all the fumes, they get stuck inside my house and I'm very much suffocated by it. So if I just leave it, I'm getting affected by it, right? So I call myself an environmentalist and I do some work towards the environment, but it is getting affected, right? So what I did is I just decided that I'll put a composter, something like dry leaves can easily be composted, right? Instead of burning them, we can compost them and it'll become a good manure for the plants. It's an organic manure, right? So by just putting up a composter, we can just ask people to collect the leaves in that, and it just if you put water and some microbes, or even if you leave it like that, it becomes into a good compost, right? So that's one kind of waste which can be easily avoided from being burnt. Otherwise, if it's getting burnt, I'm getting affected. So it's not that okay, climate change is far off, let it get burnt, I don't care. If I don't care, I'll face the consequence. So people think that environmental work is selfless work, but it's very much selfish work. We are working for our health, for our well-being, and for our children's well-being, right?
Exactly. I
So
mean, it's
the issues are very much around us. Yeah.
the issues are very much around that, and like it's not about protecting Mother Nature; it's about protecting ourselves. That's the main thing. Nature will take care of itself. Mother Nature can take care of herself,
Yes.
but ultimately we're protecting ourselves and our future generations.
Yeah.
Point well noted. Yes, definitely. And
if we want a
Shivani,
clean place to live.
pardon me?
Yeah, if we want a clean place to live, we have to make sure it is clean, right?
Yes, exactly.
So people may think that, okay, some other person is throwing, so even I'll throw. And it'll add up to become a big pile of kachra, right?
Yes.
If you do your bit, someday that other person will learn to manage their waste, right?
Exactly, yes.
So it is all individual efforts which build up.
Sure, then. Yes, everyone doing their bit for themselves and then in turn for Mother Nature.
Yes.
And with regards to your startup, Sustainable Earthlings, what do you aspire to do and what is your vision for that startup?
So basically, the reason for setting up this startup and working on it is to make e-waste management and other kinds of waste management also very accessible, easy, and effortless because we want to make waste management a daily routine, a part of our daily lives, right? Because we often complain that waste management takes a lot of time and research, and we have to put extra efforts to manage our waste properly. So we want to take that notion out of people. So that's what basically we want to do. So we want to make it easier for people to manage any kind of waste easily.
Okay, got it. So you want to make managing waste an easy habit.
Yes.
That's great. And is there anything else you want Sustainable Earthlings to do apart from managing waste?
Yes, we are starting with e-waste management, and we want to venture into e-waste recycling. And to make it, the problem with e-waste recycling is, main thing is collection. Collection is the problem because suppose in my household I have one mouse, one charger, one earphone set which is not working. So it's just very less amount of waste, and I expect someone to come and collect it from my house, and still they have to pay for my waste, right? So that is the situation. So it is very difficult for recyclers to collect all, especially the household waste, to collect all the waste and recycle it, right? The main challenge is the logistics and the cost associated with it. So we want to reduce that by introducing efficient ways of collecting e-waste and managing.
And I think this will bring about a message to a lot of startups, other startups also to start, to upstart. And this is when you're saying there's a challenge, it is a wonderful opportunity for a lot of people to come together as a community and create a market for this.
Yes.
Actually create a market. We all hear of e-commerce and online platforms. There could be an e-waste platform where e-waste players, and a lot of players, and a huge market is created. There's a scope for that.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean that would really make it that's how companies like Zomato and Swiggy, because there was an opportunity and there were buyers who wanted things at their convenience. A company like Sustainable Earthlings will make it convenient for you, the consumer, to manage their waste.
Yes.
And invite more other players to come in and together as a community help people to manage waste. I think that's a brilliant thing, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this will get inspired to start their own startups and collaborate with you. And the present companies also would love to collaborate with you.
Surely.
Yes, Shivani. And so we come to the end of our episode, Shivani. It was wonderful speaking to you. We learned a lot of things about e-waste, about managing waste, about the initiatives and what are your aspirations, and many of the products that can be used, many of the companies that already exist in Hyderabad and other places who do this, and how to collaborate with them. I definitely enjoyed every bit of this conversation with you, and I too want to be a sustainable earthling like you.
Yes, yes, surely.
So let us aspire that the entire world becomes sustainable earthlings, and
Yes,
follow these
yes.
sustainable practices that you have shared with us today.
Yeah. So thank you so much for giving the opportunity to share, and thank you for inviting me. Yeah,
Sure,
I'm
sure.
really
It's
grateful
our
for
pleasure. Uh, on behalf of the entire community and the world, and as well as Nature's Orbit team, we really thank you for being here today and giving your time and sharing your thoughts and views, and even your whatever you have done. So I wish you all the best, Shivani, and wishing your startup and all your initiatives all the best, all the very best.
Thank you so much, Aditya.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye bye.